going on, people? Welcome along to the front three. In this video, me and Cole are going to be bringing you the next in the series of the debate. Today we're going to be discussing a very controversial topic, and that is Arsene Wenger. Should he stay or should he depart Arsenal Football Club? Of course, there's a lot of negativity surrounding the guy. Most recently, a video has been released of Arsenal fans allegedly abusing the guy following the defeat to Stoke at the weekend. A horrible loss at the Britannia Stadium for Arsenal. As an Arsenal fan, of course, it's going to be a very difficult topic for me to discuss throughout this. But Cole, you're against. Take it away.
Well, the majority of people on the TheFrontThree's Google Plus page, I put up an ad a couple days ago, or more like a post, and majority of you said Wenger out. I have to agree with you on that. I just think it's almost becoming sad at this point. He's a very, I wouldn't say bitter old man, but he's a very stubborn old man, and I hate to kind of compare it to someone like Brian Clough, but it's kind of becoming at that stage of his age. He's just getting sad. He's not changing his ways. Other managers come out saying we know his tactics, we know what he's going to do, and you think he would change that, but Wenger's so stubborn he won't change that. You have his transfer policy, which he's starting to slightly change a bit, but he's not buying that really center defensive mid that I think you guys need, that dominant, like a Patrick Vieira kind of sense. And to be brutally honest, I just think it's time for him to go. He has to go. I think not middle of the season, that's ridiculous. Fans can't let him go beginning, or the middle of the season I should say. He's just, there's no one else to get, and I just think stick with him, see how he does by the rest of the year, and just go from there.
Yeah, I think it's interesting you mentioned about his stubbornness, which I think is his real weakness in a sense, as well as that you mentioned that we didn't reinforce by bringing in a central defensive midfielder, as well as a centre-back in some, and these are of course weaknesses of the guy, but you also said that we shouldn't sack the guy at this moment in time, which is certainly where I would agree with you there. Sacking him now would leave us in an awful position. I think Wenger, a lot of praise has to go to him. Not just, I know in the last 10 years or whatever, Arsenal haven't been the most successful club in the world, but he has put us in a magnificent financial situation, bringing us the stadium. We're one of the first clubs in the Premier League to have a renovated new stadium. Well, it's not even renovated, it's a brand new stadium that we've got here on our hands. Loads of other clubs haven't done that. I mean, arguably the only team that probably isn't going to have to do that at this moment in time is probably Manchester United, but other clubs are going to have to do it. Chelsea's going to have to look to do it at some point. Liverpool, they're expanding Anfield, but at some point in the future they're still going to have to move to a new stadium. Spurs are looking to move to a new stadium, and they'll be in dire financial situations when it comes to doing that for them. We're in a good financial situation. We've bought in the likes of Mesut Ozil, Alexis Sanchez. Yes, we do have money in the bank which should have been spent throughout the summer. I agree with you there. He has spent money wrongly, and I think he's buying too many creative players at times. But then again, I think he's got till the end of this season to really prove himself. I think it's difficult because we're already out of the league title race. I can't realistically see us winning the Champions League. The only thing I can see us realistically competing for this season is the FA Cup. But Wenger, I would say, is to blame for that in a way, because a lot of the problems that we've had this season fundamentally have been caused from that central defensive midfield position and not having enough cover at the back. But then again, he's on a 3-year contract, and I think if things don't improve, I think he will have to come to a mutual decision with the board. I think he'll leave the club. I think he'll do that rather than have fans turn against him all the time. But I certainly think he can rectify. I mean, if we were to push on from where we were last season, which I don't think is possible for us to do this season, if he goes out there and buys what we need in January, which I doubt he will, but then again, you know, it's a difficult position to be in, really, because I think the guy's got a lot of positives as well as a lot of negatives. He's done a lot for the club. I certainly think he's introduced one of the best playing styles of football in the league, but I think only time will tell with this one.
Yeah, and you've said that he's brought you obviously the new stadium, and he's really, whenever he came to Arsenal, he brought this whole new perspective and training regime and all this stuff, and nutrition, and just living kind of a healthy lifestyle for athletes. Before that, in football, is completely different. He's brought all that stuff. That's great in my opinion. I just think it's time for him to go. It's just, he's done all he can really do for Arsenal. Yes, he won the FA Cup last year, but all those years without something. Obviously, there was the financial restrictedness of making a positive asset of the club and not going into the red zone, and I totally understand that, but it's just one of those things. He's brought you, I think, as far as he can take you. Yes, he has a 3-year contract, but realistically, how much farther can he take you? I think January, if anything's going to really tell how far and what he can do. If he doesn't go and stays for his full 3 years, I think that's it for him. I think this last few years of his life at Arsenal, he has to either set up shop and go for it, or just leave at this point. I think it's almost becoming pathetic in my point for him. But really, that's my thoughts on it. What's your last thoughts, Cookie?
That was pretty brutal at the end there, Cole, I must be honest. But you know, I think in a sense the FA Cup did paper over a lot of cracks in Arsenal's weaknesses last season. But then again, it was a great victory, a great day for all Arsenal fans, and it ended that trophy journey we were on. So it should be a massive confidence boost to the team in general. But in a sense, I do think Arsenal do need a refreshing challenge. And if Arsene Wenger isn't to bring us forward in and show his true ambitions in the coming years, coming months, should I say, I think he's really got to change philosophy, stop being so stubborn, look at the teams that you've got to play, rectify his lineups when he's got to go to places like Stamford Bridge, Old Trafford, etc. If he does that, and I can put faith in him, then I think he's got every right to take this club forward. And then I think you've got to look at the possibilities of who do you bring in to replace the guy. But like I said, I do think the FA Cup did paper over a lot of cracks from last season. We were still enduring some torrid results against like City, Liverpool, etc. And it was a difficult season for us last term. I mean, we should have done a lot better, but the FA Cup was a good win, and it should have been a stepping stone for us. Unfortunately, this season we don't look to be pushing on. Like I said, I do think we need a refreshing challenge at some point. Hopefully Wenger will adjust himself and he can be the man to bring Arsenal back to the glory days. But anyway, guys, that has been this episode of The Debate. If you've enjoyed the video, then be sure to give it a like rating, subscribe to The Front Three, and as always, from me and Cole, thank you for watching.